And to build off of that, Dory, and to kind of go back to what you're talking about with multicultural competence, awareness being sort of that first major step. And I think if there's anything that we can say, if you're not aware right now, then you're not paying attention. No one watching this right now isn't aware. So now what are the steps beyond the awareness that Kayla so eloquently talked about that we continue to take so that we can actually see that competence take root?
Sure. Well, the first thing that came through my mind just then when Kayla was talking about not being a bystander, I used to be an elementary school counselor in my former life, and we say, when you see something, don't be a bystander, be an upstander. Come in and stand up for somebody. And if we have to take our lessons from elementary school kids, then we'll take our learning directives from elementary school kids then. But I think that what we're describing here, just to Will's point, is multicultural competence. I'm a counseling professor, and so one of the things that I do, my favorite component of my job, is I teach classes on counseling diverse populations. And so that's what we're all describing here, is how do we become cross-culturally competent? How do we engage people in conversations and in dialogue when they're different than us, when they have different backgrounds or different value system or a different belief system, a whole different set of lived experiences. And the way that we do that is three components. We have awareness, knowledge, and skills. And so the first component of it is awareness. How do you bring into your own awareness that you are a multicultural being, that you have a lot of dimensions to your identity that are, some of them chosen by you, some of them have been chosen for you, some of them are static, some of them are dynamic, and they're going to change and evolve over time. But you have to build your own awareness. You have to, just like Kayla was saying, when you turn on your Twitter or you turn on your TV and you see things, bringing into your own awareness, that doesn't happen to me. This happens to other people. And doing that comparison and starting to say, wow, people are treated differently based off of this totally arbitrary thing of skin color. This is really not okay. So you're bringing into your own awareness of that. The second piece is knowledge, where you're actually starting to go out and do the work to learn about other people's experiences. And I think a lot of those of us in the majority, a lot of white people right now are in that place of reading books and asking questions. And I keep seeing all of these things from all of my Black friends and Black colleagues that I know. They're like, I'm so sick of explaining race to white people, and it's just like, oh gosh. And I just imagine that most Black people want to have a conversation with white people where a white person is coming in and saying, you know what, I've thought about this, I've engaged in this conversation, I've read this book, this is what my experience was like. What has it been like for you? Not, hey, explain race to me, and I'm gonna take my notes here, and we're gonna figure this out. You have to engage people in dialogue, and you have to do that in a genuine way where you elevate people to being the expert on their life, that you believe them when they tell you these stories, that you're not saying, yeah, but what about this thing? It's, wow, I'm really sorry that happened. How can we make this better? And that's when you move into the skills component. The hashtags are great, but we need to start doing things that are actually going to move the needle on bringing about effective change. We have a system of policies that are well rooted in racial stereotypes and racial prejudices. Those things didn't happen overnight. They're not going to get solved overnight. That's what I was saying, that sustained and intentional effort. We need to be able to move through this either on an individual level or maybe on a small group kind of community school level kind of advocacy before we move up to like a public arena level of advocacy. I'm really getting into my counseling competencies here as I'm like rattling through these things, but there's this, none of this is new. We're not reinventing the wheel. We just have to actually follow the wheel on this. We just actually have to follow these steps. We can get there. It's not an impossible task. It's just going to be a long task.
I'm going to tie a lot of this together because I think a lot of people are going to be watching this, and this is furthering their conversation. This is furthering their awareness, take the first step, and then furthering their knowledge as it relates to it. So as we look at sort of takeaways from this, actionable items that we can utilize in this, Janelle, I'll go to you from an administrative sort of standpoint, is that you're probably certainly as aware as anybody could be in your position, but now all of a sudden, more and more people inside your building, as they come back to school, as you're having conversations now, are aware, have the knowledge. What do we want to do next? How should people be learning about the struggle of whether it's student athletes, coaches, administrators within your building, or then externally and how they're interacting with the world? What should we be doing next to help improve the world for all, especially as it relates to college athletics?
Absolutely. And I just want to pause for just a minute and say, Dory, like virtual high five, virtual fist bump on that, because that was a mic drop. That was just everything we needed to hear and what needed to be said. And so just thank you for saying that, because you were right on point with that one. And Will, just to answer your question, again, it just, from an administrative perspective, I'm just going to keep hitting on the point of intentionality. It's got to be intentional. We have to create spaces. We have to continue the conversation, and we have to educate ourselves. I mean, shucks, we work in higher education. How dare we just come to the office every day and just sit and not be working and honing our craft? We'll do that. We'll jump in on some professional development in a minute. But what does that look like? I can read leadership books every day. I can attend webinars and do different things. But what am I doing to educate myself in this space? And, I challenge colleagues. We still have institutions to this day that in their senior leadership, there's not one person of color at all. So my challenge to my white colleagues is, can somebody please ask why? Be bold. Ask the question and wait until you receive the answer. Be a part of the solution. It starts in our hiring processes as administrators. When we have coaching pools, when we have vacancies and openings, who are we reaching out to? Where are we posting those jobs? What does your network look like? If you were to sit down and write down 10 names, different positions, different departments, or maybe 20, are they all women? Are they all men? Are they all Black? Are they all white? That's a great place to start. Diversify your pool, diversify your network, so that when you have those questions, you're not just wearing out your colleague perhaps, but you can pick up the phone or shoot an email and ask somebody else, or what we talk about in church, reaching across the aisle. We have to work. We have to continue the work. We have to continue the conversation. We have to be intentional, and we have to be vulnerable. Those are my answers to that.
Yeah, well said. A virtual high five on that as well. Mike, I want to take it even a step up the ladder higher as a member who mentors kids in the community, board of trustee members. So you're looking at it from a whole institutional level and even from a community level. What are those conversations like in terms of people equipping themselves to be better agents of social change?
Sure. Well, a couple things. One, as I tell kids that I work with, that I mentor, don't let someone dictate who you are, how you act, and what you believe. Don't stereotype, and don't allow someone to impact you. My dad, my dad grew up in Luverne, Alabama in the South. And I remember he had a conversation, because I, in high school, was kind of going through my own little racial issues. And if I'm being honest, I had a serious dislike of white folks. I had a friend, Veronica Vons, who was shot and killed by 3 white guys. And I was just, there was a lot of hatred. And so my father, Christian man, an amazing, beautiful man, 5th grade education, one of the smartest guys I know. He said to me, when I was going through one of my moments, my comments, he said to me, he said, hey, you don't like white folks, you say, because of what happened to Veronica Vons. And I said, you're absolutely right, Dad. So you're right, I don't. And he said, well, let me ask you, had she been killed by 3 Black guys, would you hate all Black folks? And it was the first time I realized that I just accepted I had an anger and a dislike towards people just for no reason. I use excuses, but I actually just had a dislike and an anger. And it was the first time where I had to sit down and realize that just has to change. It was my first communication where it impacted my life. And my father said, and I'm going to challenge everyone here, God doesn't have a love of color, right? He doesn't have, for God, it's not just social justice, it's justice. It's justice, period. If we take that global perspective of, look, man, I'm going to treat you right because of who you are and not what you look like. And this is what I tell police officers too, right? So if you think about Martin Luther King, and I love Martin Luther King, some of his quotes, right? But he talked about how not being judged by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character. Check this out. This is Martin Luther King should have been a trainer at the police academy. Why? Because has someone come up and said, hey guys, you should judge people off of their behavior and not the content of their color, or not where they live or anything like that, right? Things would be a lot better, right? I was a very active law enforcement officer, and I love my job. I think I was partially good, and what I do now in my world is I read behavior. And so I would love for us to take the approach of, look, I'm just judging you off of what you present to me from the inside out and not the outside in. And from a perspective of what we're talking about today, listen, our athletes, they should be the leaders of all this, and I'll tell you why. And you guys, having been there, look, when we look in a huddle, we see so much diversity, right? We see black, white, short, tall, right? Big, small. We see that diversity, and we love and depend on one another in that game. We are committed, and we don't say, whoa, wait. No. This black guy or white guy, we have to change that. We don't say that. So we, having had that experience and understanding what inclusion is all about, right? I don't like the word using diversity much, because I always feel like diversity is kind of it's just my opinion. So, don't get angry. Diversity is one of these things that, I think of, okay, you have 3 whites, 2 blacks, 1 Asian, 1 this, and 1 from the LGBTQ community, right? Instead, I don't want you to, because there may be more good people of that color. I don't want numbers. I want you to include me. I want you to say that I can come to the table and I'll bring my best cake. And man, if it's the best, we're going to take you. That is what this is all about. It's about you not having to say to Mike Peterson, oh, because you're black, we're going to, let you come in and talk. No. Listen, I'll get there. I can do the job. Just give me the opportunity. And I think if we take those steps and we honestly, goes back to what we all talked about, and we talk about it, and how I feel, right? Man, what an awesome opportunity and change will take place. And by the way, I love this country. I think this country is the best country in the world. We'll always love it. I've been around the world 10 times, right? And call me Dorothy, but there's no place like home, right? So if we take this opportunity to work and get past this, get to a better place, we're ahead of the game. God bless you.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. All right. Now, the Horizon League has said that the attention span of those people watching this are probably not going to make it to the end of this entire chat, but it's been so really, really good that I do want to make sure that everybody gets a parting shot in terms of true action items moving forward, whether it's going to be something that you want to see implemented in your particular role and involvement with the institution, or something that you hope everybody in a similar position as you is going to be able to do moving forward. So Kayla, I will start with you. All of a sudden we've seen athletes sort of adapt into a role of being more than just an athlete, but being agents of social change on their campus. What's your message for your fellow student athletes across the Horizon League for how you want to see them actionably moving forward?
I would say I'm proud of you just because it's never just been, coming to Northern Kentucky University was the ultimate power move I've ever made in my entire life. I love it here. I've made so many great friends. I think that every friend that I've made has been so willing to try and understand. Even if they can't understand, they're trying so hard, and it's so adorable. I love it. And I think that they really do care about each other. I can't speak for every university, but you can see it's a genuine caring for each other. I don't want to watch my friend go through that. I don't want to sit here and hear somebody talk poorly about you. I see it every day. I remember being in a situation where somebody was talking poorly about a friend of mine, And I witnessed another friend step in like immediately, like, that's not true. Like, you don't say things like that about somebody else. Like, just the fact that I've just noticed people are willing to step up. People are willing to step up to the bat and really try their hardest to be there for each other, especially like right now. Like, we want to be there for each other, and people want to learn. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that just having inclusivity and making sure that, you know, everyone feels that they're in a safe environment, just feeling that, you know, we're going to be heard. Like, if I go to the office and I say something just happened to me and I'm not okay with it, what's going to happen to me? Do I feel, I'm going to say, yes, I do feel comfortable to do that, because my administrators, I think that they feel strongly about, you know, certain things, and they want to make sure that, you know, nothing is getting swept under the rug in athletics. So when I say, like, something just happened to me, can I go to somebody? Can I say something to somebody? Or can I say something to my fellow student athletes, and will they back me up? Will they support me? And I can say confidently, yes, with where we're at right now, yes, we can. Can I say that about every school across the board in the Horizon League? I'm not sure, because they're their own, you know, they know better than I would about their own lives. But I would love, you know, to be able to just say, like, I'm proud of everybody, and I want people to continue to educate themselves and continue to, you know, stand in the gap for people who can't, you know, stand up for themselves any longer. You know, don't allow your fellow teammate to be berated by somebody else, or, you know, don't let somebody, you know, endure harassment because of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. None of that. Stand up for the people that you know, you love and care about, because Mike is exactly right. When you're standing out there, when, you know, for football, when you're in a huddle, you know, you look around and all you see is different faces. You're not just looking at somebody who is exactly like you. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own, you know, wonderful qualities about themselves. And especially in track and field, people say it's an individual sport, which it is, but it also is a team sport. And when I'm sitting out here, I don't just focus on me ever. I'm always the kind of person that's like, I just finished my race, but my friend is about to run the 100, so I got to run back and cheer them on. You know what I mean? It's never been, you know, it's all about me. It's about, you know, the inclusivity of everybody that has been a part of the team, and wanting to make sure that, you know, everyone feels supported, is loved, and feels secure. And I think moving forward, that kind of agenda needs to continue. And especially within administration, I won't speak for you guys, but just making sure that you are moving with intention and allowing us to feel, you can come to me, you can talk to me, you can tell me what's happening, you can tell me how you feel about something. What do I need to do? What can I do to help? Just having like that open door policy. Are your open doors really open? Stuff like that. So I'll close with that. But other than that, yes, thank you for having me, and I'm done talking. I talk a lot, sorry.
And she segues right into the administrative portion of it. So Janelle, when we look at what those lasting changes are going to be across the board, you've touched on a couple of different ideas. I know you have some stuff to add to it as well. How can we take this strong, vibrant message that we're getting, especially from our young people, from our student athletes, and keep it sustained within our athletic departments?
Absolutely. Continue the conversation. It needs to be monthly. It may need to be weekly in some places. Whatever it looks like on your campus, make an effort, make a concerted effort to continue the conversation. Is it building a mentor-mentee, for lack of better words, program, pairing people up together? Is it, you know, the AD saying, hey guys, we're going to read or girls, we're going to read this book, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to come to every other staff meeting maybe, and we're going to talk about this book. We're going to kind of have a book club. You know, is it partnering with your diversity, equity, inclusion offices on campus and getting in the programming that they have already, bringing them over to your spaces. You know, just offering different, there's so many different avenues. Google is right at our fingertips. Educators are right at our fingertips. Experienced leaders and speakers that go around and do this for a living are at our fingertips. So there's absolutely no excuses for not continuing the conversation. A lot of things we talk about from a budget standpoint is putting money behind it. If we're intentional and we're truly focused on this and we want to see change, we need to put the money behind these efforts to make sure that they're being done. That's going to show that we're committed to it, and that we want to have it happen, and that we want to see change, not just in our own institutions, in our own spaces, but outside. Everybody, we work in athletics. It's a competitive thing. Use it as a competition. Everybody wants to be the first to create something. Well, you have the opportunity now to be the first to create something, not just to check the box, but for it to be meaningful for everybody involved, student athletes, coaches, staff, and even if we're reaching across campus. Continue to have the conversation.
Passionate, strong stuff there. And I think while we have a lot of, I'm assuming, student athletes and administrators and coaches who are going to be watching this and learning from this, Mike, I really hope that there are a lot of stakeholders of institutions who are watching this as well, whether they be donors, whether they be past administrators, faculty members, whatever it might be, that are, I mean, on the outside of athletics, but want to see this change and get better. What would be your message for those folks?
Yeah, so I think it's what you just said. You are a learning institution. You're a learning institution. You're a learning institution. So it is an opportunity to teach, to have an impact. And you know, as crazy and bad as the situation may appear, man, what an awesome opportunity. I always tell people, you know, God gave you a rainbow to tell you how to weather the storm. Weather the storm. We got to weather the storm and we'll be fine. So for those athletes out there that are watching this, look, you are all warriors. You have been warriors all your life. It's what we do. It's who we are. You go out and you make a difference and you make a change, and you do it with love. Don't do what you hate. Don't say what you hate. Those law enforcement folks out there, listen, treat them like they're your family. You know what? If I treated people that I arrested like they were my family, wow, be a lot better off, right? So we can all do this. Universities can do this. Community can do this. Athletes, we can all do this, but we have to take the one approach. And I'll use this word, and people think it's corny and hokey, but it is true. It's love, right? My wife, love her to death. Don't always understand how she feels and what she says until we sit down and we start talking. And once we do, holy cow, then I realized just how wrong I was. Not just kidding. But so we're blessed. So look, Horizon, thank you all. And I just have to say that I really, really love the fact that this is more than just a show. This is a show and tell. And I love that. So thank you.
Wow, man, there are so many good, like, poster-worthy stuff in this conversation today. Like, great quotes that we could be putting up there, T-shirts made and everything like that I think help continue this conversation. And Dory, I'll leave you with the parting shot from your standpoint of anything that you've heard, actionable items moving forward from a counseling standpoint that you really think could help with this conversation.
Goodness. Well, I mean, I'm a professor, so I'm a huge proponent of just reading more books. Even if they're fiction books, I don't care. Diversify the people that you're getting input from. Don't just get input from people who look like you and sound like you. Find a genre of book or film or whatever that you like and expand your horizons. There are so many different points of view. It's going to help you. It's going to make you better. The only other thing that I would really like to say is that when it comes to advocating for people and standing up for people and doing this competency, we really need to, those of us who are in a position of power, those of us who are in a position of privilege to be doing the advocacy, we really need to see our opportunities to either advocate with someone, like alongside of them, doing the work, empowering them to use their voice. We also have to recognize our position of power when we have to advocate on behalf of someone, when maybe there aren't opportunities for people who have a voice, who are able to effectively voice their concerns, or maybe they don't feel like they have the agency to actually bring about that change. It takes those of us who have the power, who have the privilege, to do that advocacy on behalf of folks. And so I think that it's really important that you see those opportunities and know when our voice and our action is needed on behalf of people, or when we're able to empower people up to do that work on their own. So.
Great stuff. Phenomenal words all around. And as someone who's broadcast dozens of Horizon League championships and hundreds of Horizon League games over my time. This is without a doubt the most important broadcast I've ever been a part of within the Horizon League. So thank you so much, panel. Thanks again to the league. And I hope that, you know what, in an era of everything going viral, I hope this goes viral, because I think this has been a phenomenal opportunity for folks to learn and continue moving forward. Thank you all so much for being here today.